Everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. In this video we're going to be taking a look at two primary things. Number one being the road performance of these 38-inch Milestar Patagonia MTs, and the second one being how do these 38-inch tires run down the road and how do they perform on my 07 Rubicon with stock axle gears. God, it's so windy out today. If you guys own Wranglers, you know exactly what it's like to freaking drive around in the wind. Sail! Do 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 do. Yeah, that's what it's like driving a Jeep Wrangler, especially with high clearance fenders, big tires, lift kit, all that business on a windy day. you just get blown around. Anyways, I have the bed tread floor liners in the front in this Jeep and all the rear carpets taken out. So there is a lot of interior noise compared to another Wrangler that might have full carpet. I do have the hard top on right now. There is no insulation or anything in this hard top. But just so you guys know exactly what we're dealing with as far as sound insulation. The road noise isn't too bad. I wouldn't say these tires are silent, but let's face it, what tire really is as far as all-terrains and mud-terrains go. This tire, I don't feel like it's really much louder, if any louder, than the KO2s that were on here. Maybe there's a difference in like the pitch. These might have a little bit more of that mud tire roar, where my KO2 all-terrains had more of that higher pitch all-terrain howl or whine or whatever you want to call it. I would definitely say that these are one of the quieter mud trains that I've ever personally experienced. And I have had a few different mud tires myself, one being the Netto Trail Grapplers. I did have like the stock, what were they, mud terrain TAs or whatever that this Jeep came with. I think these tires are actually quieter than those tires. I haven't driven on a new KM3 yet, but I've been in various other Jeeps that have pretty popular mud tires on them, like Mickey Thompson MTZs, for example, Cooper SDT Pros. So compared to all those tires, I would say that these tires are probably a little bit quieter, and worst case, they're on par with them noise-wise. Again, I wouldn't say that these tires are silent or like the same as like an all-season that would come on a passenger car or something. They're not doing that kind of a miracle with this tire. But if road noise is your concern and you're looking at mud tires, let's just check this one off as being one of the more quiet options available on the market today. So originally, when I put these tires on the Jeep, I filled them up 28 PSI because it's kind of a familiar tire pressure for me with this vehicle. Currently, I'm actually running them at 22 PSI. Before you guys freak out and go, that's way too little air for the road, we need to consider that these tires have a max pressure of 36 PSI. So filling them up to the vehicle's 36 PSI or 37 PSI in the door would actually be overinflating them. Also, at 36 PSI, this tire is rated to hold 3,000 pounds, and that's per corner. So at 36 PSI, we're talking 12,000 pounds. This Jeep is not even close to 12,000 pounds, nor will it combined weight ever be 12,000 pounds. So that's something to consider. At 28 PSI, it wasn't bad, which now that I'm at 22, it rides even better. The ride quality at 22 PSI is super ideal for this vehicle. Drives great. I love the way it goes over bumps and everything. There is a certain advantage to having larger tires. They do kind of sap power and things like that, but there's an advantage when you're hitting like bumps and holes and cracks and stuff in the road. A bigger tire doesn't pick as much of that up. It floats over those kind of things better. So there is that advantage. You know, of course there's a list of disadvantages, but I'm just explaining one advantage that comes with having bigger tires on your vehicle. So now let's talk about how stock Rubicon gearing performs with these 38-inch tires. So with this being the Rubicon, it is the 410 axle gears. This is made a lot more possible by the fact that I have the 6-speed manual transmission. There's more gears, so more ratios to keep me in power. And I also have a much lower first gear than the 4-speed automatic from this generation, and even compared to the 5-speed automatic that's in the newer Pentastart JKs, there's like a 443 to 1 first gear in this transmission, I believe it is, and you can really tell the difference when you're driving the manual versus the 4-speed. If it wasn't for this transmission, trying to drive around with the 4-speed automatic and 38-inch tires would just be a nightmare, because I mean these things are already underpowered as it is, and with the 4-speed it would really go nowhere. So the 6-speed does afford me the ability in the meantime to drive this vehicle around. When I'm cruising these back roads at like 55, 60 miles an hour, 6 gears out of the picture. I mean, I could technically go to 6th gear, but I'm going to be lugging the engine more. These 3.8 liters they're not that happy below 2,000 RPMs at highway speeds, especially if you're moving a bigger tire. So that's the one disadvantage right there off the bat, is 6 gears out of the picture. So this just became a 5-speed. Even when I was on the interstate the other day, I didn't use 6th gear. Like 5th gear was just the way to go with the stock gears and you know, these tires. So one thing I want to mention is with this vehicle having a 4-to-1 low transfer case, even with the stock axle gears and 38-inch tires, I still have all the gearing I need because of the 6-speed manual transmission as well. The combined ratio is still super crawly. So when I get this thing on the trail, I really don't have any lack of gearing, in my opinion anyways, because there's oftentimes I just don't use first gear still, unless I'm doing like I say, a very slow intricate crawl. If you guys happen to watch my mudding video, that first mud hill I climbed up, that ditch, whatever you want to call it, in the beginning of the video, when I made it up that was 3rd gear 4 low. The last mud hole in that video, I was in 4th gear 4 low with the lockers on. So that gives you kind of an idea on like what the gearing still looks like in 4 low. The plan is this year I'm going to put 513 gears in this thing, and it will make it better on the road. But the fact that I have a 6-speed manual makes all the difference in the world, and this thing's plenty drivable for me right now. It's definitely not the quickest thing on the road, but you know, we drive it around on our free time and take it on the trails and stuff, and it's been doing great so far. But the plan is 513 gears this year. Alright guys, I'm going to give you guys I'm not going to like whole shot it or anything, but I'm going to, from a stop, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a rolling 0 to 60. Let this guy go back because we're going to be so fast we're going to catch up. Alright, here we go guys, from 10. Alright, there's 60. Now, I'm probably going a little over 60 because the speedometer's still set for the KO2s. I haven't changed it yet for the 38s. I'm actually going to do that when I get back home. I just forgot to do it actually. So, I mean, that's not the fastest that you'll see a vehicle go from 10 to 60, but you know, considering stock gearing, stock tire 3.8 liter, I mean, I have 98,000 miles on this Jeep. You know, it's only going to be a little bit faster when the 513s get put on. I will do, before I switch out this year, I will do a before and after video so we can see where that's at. Let me just say that 38s with the 6-speed and stock Rubicon gears is doable, and you could get by on it for a little bit, but you're definitely going to need gearing. If you're running the 6-speed, you definitely want at least 488s, probably 513s. I don't really want to go 538s because I just don't want this thing revving to the moon when I'm on the interstate, but that might be an option for you as well. If you're rocking the 4-speed, you actually need more than 538s, but that's the end of the road, so that's what I would get for this tire size. It's amazing what the 6-speed does for this vehicle. That's what some people are learning nowadays with the JL and its 8-speed automatic. It has very similar gearing as this 6-speed manual transmission right here. You know, it has extra overdrive, and you know, it is an 8-speed overall, but the first gears are very similar to the way this transmission is, and that's why people are finding out on the JL that you can run like up to a 37-inch, you know, even 38-inch tire and stick with the stock 410 Rubicon gears. And that's not because it has a Pentastar. The Pentastar has been in the JK since 2012. It's because it has that 8-speed automatic, and it has a 4.71 to 1 first gear, and it has a bunch of close ratios after that. So the transmission gearing is paramount to what axle gear you need, and of course your tire size and your the power that your engine puts out is important as well. But your transmission is the dividing factor. Like the 6-speed is just so much different gearing wise compared to the 4-speed automatic that was offered in this same year of vehicle. A friend of mine has the automatic in his JKU, and with 35-inch tires, I helped him decide on 513 gears for that Jeep. And though 513 gears for 35s with automatic is like perfect, 513s with the 6-speed and 35s would be way too much gearing. Like really, if you're going 35s on a Rubicon, and especially if you have the 6-speed, I wouldn't even bother wasting the money on a gear change, even if you're doing it yourself. There just isn't much point in doing it. You know, you'll want to consider it when you go to 37s and larger, but you know, most people don't do the gear changes themselves either, so it's a lot of money to consider for a marginal gain on something like a 35-inch tire if you have the 6-speed. But that's enough about gearing. Again, this vehicle is going to get 513 gears sooner than later, and I'll be reflecting back on the changes when that happens. Alright guys, that wraps up this video. Very happy with the Milestar Patagonia so far. I'm getting by with the stock gearing at this point. Gonna change it. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more from JP, hit subscribe. And until the next video, guys, I'll see you around. I might go ahead and spill the beans. Long-term goal. I don't know when it's going to happen just yet. But long-term goal is to LS swap this Jeep. Another long-term goal is likely going to be to stretch the wheelbase. So if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, swing back by and see how I'm doing.